Hey folks, Dr. Mike here from Renaissance Periodization, and today's BS mythical entity that we are going to slaughter, think of like a unicorn. Mythical, and we're going to just come up to it with a giant axe, and it's like, and we're like, and it's like one pathetic groan. Its last groan, you could say. Thankfully, all the unicorns are gone now. We can move on to this BS matter. Specific food choices matter for results. Well, let's start out with some basic science. For pretty much any nutritional goal, some variables about how you eat clearly matter, but they look something like this. They're very general. How many calories you're taking in, what macros you're taking in, proteins versus carbs versus fats. Micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, fiber, things like that, they matter a little bit. Digestion speeds can matter, slow digesting versus fast digesting, and nutrient quality, like how high quality are your proteins, what, how much nutrient source or how slow digesting are your carbs, and, are your fats on more the healthy side of the spectrum or the less healthy, or more like olive oil or more like trans fat. These things matter and actually give you certain different kinds of results about the very food that you eat, right? But in almost every case, these general categories map onto what is effective, but the specific foods that meet them have basically the same effects. Which is to say, if somebody posts a meal of theirs on Instagram and it's like lean beef with rice and broccoli, and you ask the question of like, what do you think about turkey in this meal? You are asking a question that is essentially baseless. Beef, turkey, and chicken have very easily arranged, almost identical macros. If you get the macros right, they're basically the same thing. They have the same effect on the body. Broccoli, spinach, green peppers, same. Pasta, brown rice, whole grain bread, same. So if you ask someone, hey, can I replace pasta with whole grain bread in this meal? The answer is almost certainly yes, unless the person is an insane person and tells you, no, it's very specific. You have to have pasta, which is crazy in almost every case. Avocado, almonds, peanut butter, essentially the same effect. How essentially the same are we talking about? Well, here's the thing. If we did a study and randomized foods to people, and say, okay, you guys will only eat peanut butter for all of your meals as healthy fat source. You guys will only have olive oil. You guys will only have almonds. And we try to detect the differences in body composition, who got leaner, who got more muscular, who lost more fat, who lost more weight, who felt more satiated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If all of the foods are randomized from the same category, like whole wheat pasta versus brown rice versus whole grain bread, not like throwing in white bread or something, which very different glycemic index, very different digestion speed. If the foods are from the same general categories, like healthy carbs, for example, we would need sample sizes, number of participants in the studies in the hundreds, if not thousands, to detect any differences at all between groups. And if we zoomed in on those differences, most of the differences would just be random statistical error, which is to say the groups are actually undifferentiable. It's just randomly that there seem to be off. Some of the subjects may be more adherent. Some of the subjects have different genetics and responded better. The peanut butter group lost more weight. That's just because they had like 10 people in the group of 50 that were just studs and did an incredible job. We only had like 5 studs in the other group, so that's how it went. And if there are any meaningful differences, they would be trivially small. Trivially small. For example, we may find that folks who dieted using almonds versus peanut butter lost 0.2 pounds of fat more than, so the almond group lost 0.2 pounds of fat more than the peanut butter group over the course of 12 weeks. 0.2 pounds of fat. Now, we have a sample size that allows us a statistical power to detect that difference and actually say, now this is a real difference. It really is probably the almonds being better than peanut butter. You're going to change the way you eat over 0.2 pounds? 0.2 pounds. That's a fifth of a pound over the course of 12 weeks. Why in God's name would you do that? And if someone said, well, I know almonds are better, but I really like peanut butter, what kind of world would you be living in if you told them, no, look, the research says almonds are better. And they ask you how much better? You're like, this much. And they're like, so I like peanut butter this much more. Almonds have this much more of an effect. Where's the trade-off? There is no trade-off. Only insanity leads you to believe that very ultra-specific foods matter because they fucking just don't. I'm trying to be as honest as possible here. Can you guys tell I've been badgered with these questions for too long on social media? So at the end of the day, it's better to think in similar groups of food, choosing any foods you like within them rather than individual foods. So whole grains versus green veggies versus fruit versus lean meats, etc. are a much better way to catalog and organize your food intake than pasta versus celery versus apples versus steak, etc. Okay, individual foods essentially just don't matter. So next time you see someone on social media and they're like, I'm eating ground beef and rice, if you're like, ooh, can I eat turkey and pasta? The answer is yes. Answer that question for yourself. There's no need to ask, because the answer, if it's anything other than, yeah, it's cool, is wrong. Flat out, right? Choose any of the many foods in the general category. So if you have to choose a veggie or a green veggie, the list is as long as it is in the RP Diet Coach app. It's almost infinite. You just keep scrolling and, get your scanner out and scan any food at the grocery store. If it's a vegetable, it works. And you get super, super lean. You get all the results in the world. Jared Feather, our head physique coach here at Renaissance Periodization, is an IFB pro. He's coached numerous IFB pros to win a bunch of stuff. And if people ask him for specific foods, he begins to give them a very insulting, condescending lecture that they're asking a question that cannot be answered. Now, there's one little tiny caveat. Sometimes some foods just sit better with you, or you enjoy them more. Like when you eat pasta, you feel great. When you have rice, you feel a little off, and your stool is a little weird a couple hours later. Hey, listen, that's all you, and that's totally fine. But that doesn't mean that expands to everyone. I've had tons of people, tell me like, oh man, I can't believe you drink this much milk. It never sits well with me. Well, it sits just fucking fine with me. And what am I supposed to do? Tell people that milk is wrong? Or could be wrong for 50% of the people that I tell it to. Individual differences are cool. Individual preferences are cool, but please understand that they don't expand to everyone else. So if you think that one specific food of a big food group, like you have to have chicken, fish is no good, beef is no good, turkey is no good, this requires chicken for this goal to get you really ultra lean, then that's just bullshit. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.